Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. That's right. Welcome back to Beyond Your Radio, another program this Sunday. And of course, it's Unknown Sunday. It's time to talk about a band, an artist, something that's relatively maybe unknown or missed by our watchers, collectors, listeners out there in the music multiverse, something they might be interested in, a rabbit hole to go down. And this one became a rabbit hole from a very small thought process and beginning. If this is your first time here, welcome. Welcome to beyondyourradio.com, too. There is an article written there that is the written part of this type of discussion as an extension, so to speak. If you like that kind of stuff, there's links there to a lot of things. If you're not subscribed yet, you can. You can. You'll love it here, I promise. Please feel free to leave a comment. I always respond. I love the musical tete-a-tete combination of what people are listening to, what they think of the album, what they thought of the artist, how they got into them, all that good stuff. It's memory city, memory lane. I love to go back. Please, of course, if you like the video, what I'm doing here, if you don't like the band or the album, but hit the like button. It gives us the thumbs up-ish thing, and the algorithm says thank you, and so do I. We're not talking about William Howard Taft, the 27th president of the United States, even though he was the only president to hold the office of Chief Justice. And in, I think, 1902, he was actually the Secretary of War. It's kind of a cool title, and I don't think it's one that existed past that point because it's such a derogatory term. Although, man, if you want a band name, Secretary of War, if it's available, sounds awesome, doesn't it? I mean, come on. The Secretary of War name kind of kicks ass, just like a particular best gamble nearly ever in history, which I had never heard of and still picked it up because of the secret society look and cover of it all, as well as the Stations of the Moon. And that's this particular record here. Very hard for me to get this up to you. But anyway, I discovered some really great connections here because I was just going to write about this particular find. But what I found was something else. No, not the 27th president. Move on, please. Or will we? Direct your attention to the center of the alternative rock blues vocal guitar circus of the 1980s, right up and beyond and into an honestly cool and aggressive second coming that gives us more than a single album treat. That's right, way more, way more. So this is Dudley Taft on Unknown Sundays 2025. And yes, he is the great-great-grandnephew of William Howard Taft. I mean, why else would I have started things this way? Come on, work with me here. So Taft's journey into this all begins in Washington, D.C., of course. Why not? I mean, but if the Taft's got a good thing, why leave? I'm not quite certain he wanted to walk in his great-great-grand something's footsteps. He kind of traded Washington, D.C. for the state of Washington later on because of an opportunity musically that I wouldn't make a connection to until getting ready to write this article a few weeks ago. Now, Mr. Dudley Taft actually holds a license as a pilot. Maybe that's what kind of gave him some grounding and made money and stuff, and why he traveled as far as he has. He's been like everywhere to Cincinnati to Los Angeles to that. But I kind of think the music had that too, because that hard profession of rock and roll. It's much harder than politics. Damn it. So Taft must have had some thought process that he had to get to where it was happening. And back in this time, we're going into the late 80s, getting close to something in Seattle. Enter SGM, a band of ever-changing punk pioneers that were really, really popular and cool on the scene there. There's even a notation that the band's acronym actually could have meant anything at the time. That's sort of non-committal, don't you think? But they were thinking about Shotgun Messiah, something, something, SGM. It's just kind of like a power tripping kind of thing of whatever you want us to be. I've never heard of them at that point, and for this exercise, I did catch some tracks that were available so I could place their era, the sound, and possibly how Dudley kind of comes into this text at the time. I did come to the song, was it Power, that appeared on the soundtrack to the horror film Leatherface, which is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I mean, that's some street cred right there. You know, you get on a soundtrack. But the wanting something more and band member departures, as well as a farewell to that kind of aggressive Melvin kind of punk scene. Enter our hero, Mr. Taft, welcoming into the band, and somehow they changed the name to Sweetwater. And actually, two self-titled records in that time frame in 1991. That one was known as Ter, Ter, although that was not the title. I think it was just how the record was bent in titling. Maybe it didn't fit, and Ter was the only thing that was showing. Weird in that way. And I've never seen that record in a record store in any used bin or anything, so good luck finding that one. Then you got Sweetwater's 1993 actual debut ish thing that you can read and have. This is what I got. You know, I picked this up way before this, not knowing Taft at all. I mean, that's the bingo here. That album I found in a used bin in that same year for way below standard price. But boy, was I impressed with it. It had the sound of the times, and little did I know or care at the time who the hell was in the band. I would follow up and find the 1995 release in that same used bin. This was called Super Friends. If you look at this, yes, Dudley Taft is on it, but research-wise, I find out he got excommunicated from the band and kind of fired from it, and that's the way it goes. So let's find out how that worked out for him and me as we move forward. So, Second Coming, here we go. The record and the original reason for this Unknown Sunday 2025. Sweetwater was having such problems with touring, their ability and release stuff and radio play because of the turbulent times and changes in record labels and mergers. Dudley would be no stranger to this later on, too, right? He was able to kind of find a little something that might have been going someplace. And now, in order to understand this, let's name drop some of the people that were working on the Sweetwater record. Don Gilmore was producing, and Tim Palmer, he mixed Pearl Jam, Mother Love Bone, and the great Robert Plant. So you get a feel for some people, and you watch, and you move, and people talk about other people. And Dudley's ability at the lick, the songwriting, and even background vocal, be it apparently backing in all these bands so far as I can tell. Everyone knew about Dudley's abilities. They just did. So he gets to join this band, right? And they're called they're called FTA, right? And what is it with acronyms, right? We got SGM, FTA, pretty much will be all KP, SOL, and MIA. FTA, what the hell is it with it anyway, right? So FTA actually is funding the album, if you ask them. So all they wanted to do was fund this album. So the earlier incarnation of the band had Maxie and Junkie. Now, they're both Jesse and Ron Holt. They were instrumental in those early years in the songwriting, as well as even getting Lane Staley in on a song. But they would depart in 95, and Taft would come in. Obviously, they start writing more and right away because of what they've got. Now, I don't know if that's because of what people knew of Taft at the time, but there's a definite idea that everyone knows what they got. So in 97, they kind of become Second Coming. And that Seattle scene starts to pick up for them in 97. They got the right pitch, the right tone, the right guitar. Oh, yeah, the right guitar. And that song. Later that year, the band signed a 6-record deal in an all-out war to have them signed by Gary Gersh. Now, Gersh, if you don't know, he's Nirvana and Foo Fighters. Later that year, the band would put out the record on Capitol, and it would be called Second Coming, and it would garner 2 hits, I believe. One of them, very much a big deal. Not number one or anything, but as it goes on, mainstream rock, you had number 11 and number 16, I think, in that year. 97 and 98, getting them gigs for opening acts. That's for Vast with John Crosby, who self-inflicted pain on him, his popularity, and shot himself in the foot. Fuel, which was transcendent at the time but didn't last. Candlebox, another one hanging on by a string, and then Monster Magnet, which there's a heavy hitter right there. That one single, Unknown Rider, which still haunts my musical playlist each and every year. Hell, this whole album does. It actually was featured in Bruce Willis's huge blockbuster, The Sixth Sense. The album I have I got, this is a promo copy. You can see that right there. It's not to be sold. Well, these record company promos do circulate, my friends. And with Gary immediately leaving the record company, that 6-year deal was just messed up. You need to hit after hit and benchmark, which is something the band really didn't have when you look at the timing of the reality and the gritty, cool albums of that time. I mean, they come to that, which is kind of at its start, which is the Stone Temple Pilots, the meets Soundgarden kind of feel, as the 2000s are coming in. Taft would survive the demos of the second record, and that would be it. There was just something that he had learned from all of this, that he took that to another very different place, a place I would not have known unless I went all in on this Unknown Sunday. So Dudley Taft has never been the lead vocalist in my research. In fact, I don't think he was ever any leader of these bands beyond the prowling fingers and the manipulation of the blues as guitar or lead guitar. It just seemed like he was playing or trying relentlessly to be definitive as a contributor to their successes and exposures. I mean, there must have been somebody in the room, someone at the record label, that realized that the only true guy in all this is him. It's that rock blues line he held, and how he able to morph it into 2 different decades of change in the industry, of punk, grunge, post-grunge, and alternative. And it might be perhaps that he finally realized the root and real he possessed. While he did try to start his own band in the post-grunge alternative scene after Second Coming, with an interesting vocal lead shot given to an 80s cover singer named Patrick Napper, the band was called Omnivoid, which definitely is the most cliche of the bands so far. I don't recommend the listen technically. You're going to know right where it is in the wheelhouse it's in. It seems like a gun to the head kind of thing. Maybe that's why there were only 2 EPs. I'm sorry, not sorry about saying that. I have no disrespect for Dudley. There's no question something had to change, and he relatively changed quickly, I think. Welcome to Dudley Taft, the Dudley Taft Band, if you will, and a lovely rabbit hole of very good, catchy, hooking, modern and classical rock with a heavy blues position that have spawned albums that start with Left for Dead in 2010, which I'm unable to procure and listen to despite all my attempts. I do not have Spotify, and it seems to be the only one it's on. As a matter of fact, even his website, when you click the Left for Dead album, you don't get there right away. You have to make a detour. And then 7 other albums since, with the latest just released this year. It's called Speed of Life, which continues the steeping of bluesy rock riffs and all kinds of great familiar playing. Yeah, there are times where you will hear influences of the past, which there's nothing really wrong with that. I caught the Police, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Leonard Skinner, just to name them. But the bending fun of its placements are pure enjoyment, let me tell you. All of this a very long way from the pressures of a record company merger, and egomaniacs of the past, of those even edged out bandmates, maybe. Dudley Taft, with his most excellent cowboy hat atop his head and guitar slung in front of his posture, it just feels like he's totally comfortable with the likes of other blues lovers across the world, making an incredibly cool career out of it. Very popular in Europe. Um, so from a basically one and done, we might have called this. Um, Fantastical alternative blues rock record called Second Coming. In the used bin, we managed to go a long, long while under the guitar, singer, songwriting tutelage of Dudley Taft Jr., I believe, actually, all the way to now, to 2025. Great rock people, their instrument and their ability to dodge, parry, and twist their way in any direction, as long as they're holding the blues, generally show up in all kinds of wonderful places. I'll take a Second Coming anytime. Now I'm on the hunt for Dudley Taft records. Maybe you'll be searching too. Join me next week for another Unknown Sunday. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course. We've got articles, videos, podcasts. It's all about albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on, any storyline, any rabbit hole. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Please don't forget, we're doing the top 25 albums of 2025. It started today and will be every day until the end of the year. Thanks for watching and happy listening.